Well, good evening. Welcome to Grover Hill Zion United Methodist Church Thursday evening devotions from around the kitchen table. Now I realize this is Friday now. We had some technical difficulties yesterday, so I thought I'd put this out today. I was thinking that Valentine's Day is this coming Monday, and oftentimes people are giving cards or sending cards, Valentine's cards to people, aren't they? Just to remind others that how much you care for them and that you love them and that you want to be their friend or just things like that. Sometimes they send cards like that or notes. Sometimes we send boxes of candy out, chocolates or whatever else have you. We give those things out just to let people know that they're cared for, that you really care about them as well. I remember when we were young and kids, the entire classroom, I think we had like 30 kids in the classroom, and we always handed Valentines out then and had little boxes that you put the notes in. Those are always kind of fun to do that as well. And so as I was thinking about that, I got to wondering about the real story behind Valentine's Day. Turns out that there are several different versions of the story. I don't know that any of them you get the warm and fuzzies from reading them, but let me just share with you just very briefly for the next few minutes. This story really takes place in about the year 270 A.D., and it happened on February the 14th. Valentine, and I don't know his first name right offhand, but Valentine was a holy priest in Rome in the days of the Emperor Claudius II, and it said that he was executed. Doesn't sound much like a loving Valentine like we have today, does it? But under the rule of Claudius the Cruel, they called him. Cruel because he was indeed cruel, ruthless. He ruled Rome, and during his time, many unpopular, bloody campaigns were taking place. Just bloody. The emperor had to maintain a strong army to be involved in all the conflicts that he was in, but he was having a difficult time in recruiting soldiers to join his military leagues. Well, mostly in his day, battles were fought hand to hand, so getting maimed or killed or injured, your chances were very high that you were gonna get hurt in one of those campaigns. And so anyways, Claudius was having trouble recruiting soldiers. He began trying to figure out why nobody was joining his forces. And he realized then, or he came to the conclusion anyway, that nobody would join the army because they were married and had families, and they didn't want to leave their families behind. And so Claudius then issued a decree that Roman men and women were no longer to be engaged or to be married, period. He forbid it. Valentine, realizing the injustice of this order, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages of young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Valentine was arrested and dragged before the prefect of Rome, who condemned him to be beaten to death with clubs and then to have his head cut off. The sentence was carried out on the 14th of February, around the year 270 AD. Well, legend has it also that while Valentine was in jail, he healed the captor's blind daughter, causing the whole household, the entire household, to convert to Christianity, thus sealing Valentine's fate. Before being tortured and decapitated on February the 14th, he sent the girl a note signed with a girl, the jailer's daughter, signed from your Valentine. From your Valentine. Now, for his great service, Valentine, then after he was martyred, was made a saint by the Catholic Church. Seems like a strange way, doesn't it, to begin all of these Valentines, these millions upon millions of Valentines, gifts and cards and wishes that have been sent out by Valentine signing his name just before he was killed. Well, another strange kind of Valentine may seem like the sum is while we're thinking of Valentine and giving Valentine's acknowledgments, God as well sent us the biggest and best Valentine of all. He sent us his love in his only begotten Son, Jesus. There's no greater loving gift that God could have given us other than his Son. And his Son too came and was tortured, and he was killed by hanging on that cruel cross. Both men, both Valentine, after his death, then Valentine's Day then was declared a day of love, a day of remembering love and loving everyone. It was a day of celebration, a day of rejoicing, and Jesus, upon his death and resurrection, then it too is a day of rejoicing and celebration. That because of God's love, we are saved for eternity. You could see the beginning of the story in the Apostle John's Gospel, chapter 3, verses 16 and 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. What Valentine is greater than God's love? How could God send his love to be identified by us as being as any greater love than through his Son Jesus? Think about that. You come Valentine's Day, even if you don't receive a Valentine's card or gift or a word, remember that God has already sent you the best Valentine of all in his Son, and you are loved. Don't you ever forget that. Well, have a great and blessed week.